Okay, we're going to set up the formatting for your research assignment. So the first thing we're going to do is do the page number. So you're going to go to the top of the page and click to open the header. You're going to double click to open it. Go to Insert, Page Number, Top, Plain number 3. You're going to type your last name, space, and then the page number. Leave it the way it is. You're not going to put anything else. It's going to look exactly like that. Then go to different first page. You're going to click that box. Go to page number over here, top, plain number 3, and we're going to type your last name again. I'm using Smith as my fake student. Alright, so now that we have that done, we want to change the first page to Times New Roman. And once you do that, you're going to click underneath the header line to get back to the main page. And just to make sure that it's numbering correctly, I'm going to go down and look at the next page. So it is numbering it, but it's still not in Times New Roman on this second page. So I'm going to go ahead and go back up here, change it to Times New Roman. Now every other page after that should be done correctly. So let's go down and make sure that page number 3 is done correctly. Yes, it is. There it is in Times New Roman. All right, let's go up to the first page. We're going to set up the heading, and we're going to change the spacing and the formatting for the font. So we'll do all of that. So I'm going to type in my fake student's name here. Then you type your teacher's name, the class period, and then your class period. Whatever your class period is, you're going to type it there, and that's all you're putting the number, nothing else. Then go to the next line. We're going to type the date that you're turning it in, and I'm going to go ahead and use the Canvas date, not the day you're actually turning it in to class. So January 29th, you hit enter twice, and I know it looks like a lot of space, but remember we're fixing the spacing. Hit center, and we're going to type the title of the assignment. Alright, so once you have the title typed, don't forget to change and put this in italics because it is the name of the book. So it needs to be in italics. So once you do that, hit enter twice and go back to the left margin. Alright, once you do that, we're going to go ahead and fix the font and the spacing. So go back up to your name. You're going to highlight down a few spaces, and then you're going to change it. You're going to hit remove if you have that on your computer. Then we're going to come up here and do 1.15. So now the spacing is correct. So now we're going to fix the font to Times New Roman. Now it's done. So once we're here, we're going to start numbering. So the numbering is Times New Roman. So you can go ahead and type your first thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up the format for each thing that you're going to put in the topic. So in the assignment. So we're going to do the first one. We're going to type in illusion/type and put a semicolon there. Once you do that, you're going to come over here to the beginning of illusion and just highlight that. We're going to change it to bold. Don't go past the colon. Leave the colon there. Hit bold. Now this part is done the way we want it to be done. So now we're going to copy and paste this. So after we do that, we're going to hit enter, and then we're just going to paste that. And we're going to do that for every, let me get this one off of here. We're going to do that for every number up to 15 because that's how many topics you have. So we're going to paste, and I'm only going to do a few of them. So when you get to 15, you're going to have that extra number down there, and you can just delete that when you get to your 15. So we're going to fix that. So now once you get all 15 there, we're going to go and add the quote and explanation letters. So go back up to the top. You're going to hit enter and then tab, and it'll move it over to the letter that you want. Now we're going to make this capital letters instead of small letters. You're going to type the word quote and a colon. You're going to highlight quote. You're going to hit enter and type explanation. And it already knows, it kind of reads what you want it to do, so you didn't have to bold it that time, and you don't have to fix the colon. So once you do that, you're going to hit enter, backspace, backspace, okay? And so that takes you, it gives you that extra spacing in between. So now we want to copy and paste this to all the other numbers. So instead of hitting it here at number 2, you're going to go to number 3 and you're going to hit paste, and it's going to put it under number 2 like it's supposed to. If you put it under number 2, it's going to show A, B, C, D underneath number 1. So make sure you're putting it on number 2. So you're going to do that here also. Now notice there's no space in between these, so you got to add that space in there. So hit enter and then backspace once, and it gets rid of that C. Same thing here, hit enter, backspace one time, and it gets rid of that C. So now we want to add, let's just go ahead and do this last one here. All right, so now we have these done correctly. It's there, we're ready to type in our information. So once you're ready to do that, you're going to give a little space here. You're going to type your quote. Oh, let's do this first. So you're going to add your illusion. So the first one is, oh, let's take this off of bold. I don't know why that's bold there. Okay, so it'll be Juan Ramon Jimenez. And so then you already have that there, so you're going to move down to where your quote is. You're going to put your quotation mark for your quote, and I'm just going to type in some gibberish here. And you're going to end your quote. Now you're going to put your internal citation. So you're going to type Bradbury and then whatever page number it is, and then you're going to close it, period. Then you're going to go to the explanation. So this is where you start your explanation for whatever research you did over Juan Ramon Jimenez. So I'm going to type in some gibberish here so you can see. And if it takes you to that next line, it's okay. And then say that's all we're putting. You're going to have 4 to 6 lines of information. So now we want to do the internal citation for wherever you got your source from. So if it was an article from Britannica, you're going to put the name or the beginning of the article if there's no author. If there's an author, you put the author's last name. So let's pretend that there wasn't an author, and we're going to put Juan Ramon, and then we're going to close it. We're going to put your quotes around it because it's the title of an article. Close your parentheses, put your period, and then you're done. You're ready to do the next one. So that's how you're going to do each one of these. So make sure that you're putting your internal citations for both the quote and the research information for your explanation. So once you get all of your 15 typed up, we want to set up our works cited page. I don't know how many pages you're going to have, but we're going to pretend like this is our last page and we're going to do our works cited page. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to make a split screen, and I made up a dummy page, a dummy note page. And so on here, what you're going to do is, let's go back to this one. So up here, you want to center and type works cited. And notice it's not in Times New Roman because I didn't go all the way down the page. So we're going to change that to Times New Roman. All right. So now you're going to hit enter and go back to the left margin. So now we want to make sure that we change the spacing from 1.15 to double spacing. So we're going to highlight all the way down the page as far as the little where we stopped entering. Okay, so now we're going to change it from, we're going to remove space, and then we're going to change it from 1.15 to double spacing. So now when you go back to the margin, It's already double spaced. So now I'm going to go to my notes page and I'm going to copy and paste my MLA citations. And this one. And by the way, I know 6th and 7th period, I help some people with this. If you want to use this source for your salamander, if you can't find anything anywhere else, it is a credible website. It is Johns Hopkins University, so it's an EDU. So if you want to use that one, now don't use the notes because I just copied and pasted anything that popped up on the page. So we're going to copy and paste this one. Oops, I did that too many times. All right, let's do this one. And these were both for the Old and New Testament. So sometimes you can find a source that just has where it talks about both of them, but in this case I put in case you have this same issue, you didn't find the New Testament and the Old Testament in the same article. So okay, now notice it's not in Times New Roman, the spacing's not correct. Here we have too much space, so we need to take that extra space out. So now we need to fix it. We need to fix the font, we need to fix the spacing, and we need to fix the hanging indentations, and then we need to put it in alpha order. So we're going to do the spacing first. So come up here, we're going to remove any extra space, and now we're going to change it to double. Now if you're typing it and you already changed it to double, you're fine. But if you just did what I did, you can change it to double after you copy and paste everything on here. So now we want to do the hanging indentation. So you go to the first line, the second line that is in the citation, you hit enter and then tab, it moves it over. So we're going to do these enter, tab, and this one just might move it over. Yeah. After the second line, you just hit enter and it moves it over automatically. You don't have to hit enter tab. Okay, so I'm going to do these. All right, so now that we have the spacing and the hanging indentations done correctly, we're going to change it to Times New Roman. And we're going to make sure it's all 11, so make sure you click on 11 just to be consistent. Now we're going to, let's see, okay, we can make this bigger again. Okay, so once we have this done, we want to make sure that everything's done correctly in the citations. So just double check, make sure you have a period after the author, a period after the article, comma after the actual source in the database, and then this is the actual database, followed by the a comma, the date, comma, web, period, accessed, 26 January. And you can spell out January or you can abbreviate, but whichever one you choose, be consistent. Don't switch them around. And then last thing you want to do is put it in alpha order. Look at this one down here. The title should always be in capital letters. So make sure you're checking your titles unless it's like an article or preposition in the middle of it, then you don't capitalize it. Otherwise, you're capitalizing. So this is a B, so we're moving this, we're highlighting it and moving it up. And what's next? We got Juan Ramon, and we're moving it up. We have Old Testament, that's going to go under O'Brien. And so now it's in alpha order. So let's pretend we did all 15. Everything's done. So once you get everything done in each, then you'll go ahead and just double check to make sure everything's correct in the citation and put it in alpha order.